take you through the next hour or so and just kind of shoot the breeze about what life is all about, how you can be held accountable, how you can be held to higher standards so that your life becomes even better. You know, in looking at some of the Facebook posts on the Elite site, I can't help but notice how many people are changing their lives. And a lot of people are giving that credit to GoBundance and being part of a tribe. And it's not that we have some kind of magic formula. It's just that we've been able to take a lot of you guys that are successful and are going places and putting it all together. And I was talking to a friend of mine just earlier today. When you're in an environment where there are other people who are all trying to do the same thing, like in college, for example, if you've ever been to college, everybody kind of wants to do the same thing. You all want to grow and learn, and you're around people the same age, so it's such a great environment. Well, we've recreated that really cool environment with this tribe called GoBundance. And one of the key things that holds us together is this accountability pillar. And we did our call last week, the elders. We get together every month, and we hold each other accountable to high standards. And I was dropping the ball on a couple things. And I got called out by my brothers that said, hey, man, you know, you're dropping the ball. What are you going to do this month to step that back up? And that's what you all need to do with each other, and we need to do with you, and back and forth, and it just makes everybody better. So we have a tool that we use in GoBundance, as you know, because you've all done it, and it's called the One Sheet. It's like the baseball card, right? If you're watching the NBA Finals, they pop up the picture of Steph Curry and LeBron James, and they compare their stats. Well, not necessarily that we're comparing each other's stats, but you're comparing yourself to yourself. And when we share these One Sheets, the goal is that we're totally transparent, we're vulnerable, and we allow ourselves to be coached by people that we respect, we trust, and we like and know. And it's in that trust, it's in that environment that it enables us to be pulled up. So with that, let's just take a couple of minutes to talk about some of the great things we have going on at GoBundance. And then after a couple of minutes, we're going to go into our first One Sheet, and that's going to be Aaron West. Aaron, are you on the call, by the way?
I think he's muted, so I don't know if he can answer.
Okay. All right, so we're going to assume he's on the call. We'll have to unmute him. But Rock, why don't we talk a little bit about some of the great upcoming stuff that we've got going on this summer?
Yeah, well, I mean, the next event that we have, Mark, and is the July 12th to 16th in Colorado. We have almost 20 people signed up for that, and we have a couple of spots left. So if you want to prepare for a climb, if you're coming to Machu Picchu, that would be a great way to condition yourself. We're going to climb a 14K. And if not, one of the things that I noticed is I had Gary Wilson in my market center today, Mark, and I went to breakfast with him this morning. And I'll tell you what, hanging with the GoBundance brother, the juices started to flow because there's something about people. I was listening to Warren Buffett the other day, and they were talking about how winners are restless. They have this uneasiness about getting things done, learning, growing, seeking. And the two of us together was like, wow, getting each other fired up. He came in here, he did a great talk, and I'm supposed to talk for an hour and a half. He talked for 2.5, 3 hours. This gave an incredible amount of value, came from contribution. So I just think bathing back in the pool, the GoBundance pool, is going to have an effect on all of us. It certainly had an effect on me today. So I really think it's important that people make an effort to get out to these events. So that's the next one. After that, of course, we have Montreal, October 1st to 4th, which is going to be racing exotic cars and playing paintball. And then we have a bunch of other events we'll talk about a little bit later. But I tell you what, did you see that post by Ken Wimberly on Facebook?
I didn't see it today. I've been busy.
Okay, well, it was posted yesterday. But I'll tell you what, that is what GoBundance is all about. Check it out. I do 250 push-ups every
I saw that.
Yeah, and 60 pull-ups every single morning. 60 pull-ups every single morning. And there's a really cool shot of him hanging from some, I don't know, apparatus.
Yeah, he's way up in the air, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks like a badass, and he really just, I think he puts it all together. I review my P&L to track down my progress. I seek ways to help others. I take action to build my business every day. I put adventure on my calendar, and I live it. I never quit visualizing an even better future. Most people in the world, and in my world, simply don't think, act that way. It is refreshing to have a family of brothers who think and act exactly this way. Thank you for having me. And I think that's what this tribe is all about. So maybe we can jump in and talk about the one sheet, and love to have Aaron. Can we open up Aaron or somehow get him live so we can have him present his one sheet? We can maybe talk him through it the way we do, and then have him walk through that. Mark, what do you think?
Sounds great. And while Aaron's getting on, Aaron, when you get on, just say something. But I went to see Michael Mayer. He was in town last week giving a talk at a real estate office, and he had about 125 real estate agents or more in the building. And at the end of it, he left, and everybody was coming up to him and lining up. But he just wanted to hang out with his GoBundance tribe, right? And so there were me and Chris DeFala and Mayer, and all we wanted to talk about was how many push-ups we're training for, and to get to the next thing. So that's the cool thing about the events. It's the cool thing about the standards. And I'm sure that if we didn't have a push-up event or any kind of physical challenge, that wouldn't be something that would even come into place. It's kind of a cool little element that I think we got going on. Aaron, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah, we can. So
you know what, guys? Before we start on this, I'm actually like a minute away from the NorCal Tribe meeting right now. Can we move me to number 2, because I'm driving, and to get out my one sheet I'm like 1 minute away from that happening.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
I apologize, guys. I thought I was going to be here a little bit earlier.
No problem. Traffic. We get it.
So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about, Mark, is the fact that we set these kind of 100-day goals. The concept behind it was that if you came to a GoBundance event approximately every quarter, you could set a goal and you could target it for that 90 or 100-day period, which seems to be long enough that it's challenging, but short enough that it's doable to keep it focused. And there's a bunch of people that had set a bunch of goals. I don't know if you saw John White with his upside-down push-ups.
Yeah.
I mean, that was crazy. I don't know how many he did, but I can't even do one. So I'm glad that's not in the GoBundance challenge. But he certainly is taking that physical thing to the next level. But the other thing that really got me excited is how many cleanses have you seen posted on the site? People doing juicing, preparing their drinks in advance. Wally got a bunch of people preparing their meals a week in advance. And that kind of a culture, I think, is really affecting people in the age-defying pillar. So I would love to hear from some of the people that are out there, and maybe we can just open it up generally for anybody that wants to share. But what happened since Tahoe? How has your life been affected by the tribe? And has it kept you on track to achieve some of the things? And possibly even, are there some things that never were on your radar before that you decided to add in there, perhaps doing something with your wife or your kids or your family, or going to the doctor and getting a checkup that you hadn't done for a long time? And let's hear from some people as to exactly what's going on for them out there. So whoever is controlling it, I think it's Jesse. Can we open up the lines in general? And is there anybody out there that would like to share something that's gone, a success, a lesson, whatever, in the last few weeks, I guess we could say, since Tahoe? So
I'll start. I mean, for me, one of the things that I wanted to do was kick into yoga a lot more. And I realized after Tahoe that I was kind of letting my own standard down a little bit on yoga. So now I do yoga 3 to 4 times a week, and I'm in the gym 3 to 4 times a week, a lot of them the same day, obviously. But I was able to go from 1 or 2 times a week to now I'm really focusing on, okay, what kind of yoga class do I want to go to? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do for cardio? How am I going to do my my strength training? Those kinds of things. And just and it's not always about health, but that's one place where it's really helped me since Tahoe for the 100-day challenge.
Yeah, okay. And another thing that I think has affected a lot of people, in all fairness, is the Miracle Morning and the effect that Hal Elrod has had on the tribe.
Sure.
And the fact that it's kind of resonated through. I know that we have a Miracle Morning group here in my office, and this has literally transformed people's lives. I get emails on a regular basis from people saying, thank you for referring me that book. Thank you for it's impacted my life this way. So I would, again, love to hear from anybody out there that's changed a ritual that has affected their life. Because at the end of the day, if you don't change the behavior, then it's just like a vacation. For a week or two, you move in a direction, and then you go back to your life. What we're trying to create here is sustainable change. You get leverage on yourself, and you create that change. So who's our first person who's going to share with us? Step up and just say something.
Sure, it's Mark. I really, it was the spirituality, it's the meditation. I'd never done it before Tahoe, and done it every morning since. So
That's awesome. And how has it changed for you, Mark?
you know, I think it's just regulated, just everything. You know, it's just a different outlook, just calmer in general.
Nice.
It's a great way to start the day.
Yeah.
Are you doing the miracle morning? Does it come from that, or did it just come from the meditation we did and you said, I want to carry this forward?
It came from somebody at the table, and we were talking about it, and they just said, well, why don't you do it for the next this many days? And happened that Oprah and Deepak had a thing for that many days, and I've just gone from there. So
yeah, I've done that one too. It's awesome. What about your any challenges that you had set since the event, things that you're going to be held accountable? Tell us a little bit about how that's gone.
So I actually was going to do a charity event, a charity poker tournament. My goal was to raise $20,000. We raised $21,300.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
I was just looking at my one sheet. It's funny, and I didn't have as many. I guess I wasn't held as accountable. I hadn't looked at it for a bit, and one of the things was on there was a flip in the second quarter, and I didn't get to it yet. We just had a fire at one of the properties, and it's like winning the lottery, and basically going to get $200,000 from that. And I had to flip that I was going to make $50,000, so it's all good.
That's kind of a flip.
Yeah.
Nice. Great.
Very good. Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, we got anybody else on the call that wants to share an accomplishment, a challenge, something that they realized, a lesson they learned in the last 100 days on the 100-Day Challenge? Excellent, excellent. We got a bunch of people who are really excited. Did anybody achieve anything, or they're just too modest to share? Remember, we don't apologize for being awesome, so this is a time to be awesome.
Everybody's unmuted, Rock, so people can hear.
So anybody can
All
just.
right, well I'm on. It's Aaron West.
All right, Aaron.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. You know, talking about the 100-day thing for me. So, you know, you guys all know I do the triathlons and that kind of thing, but I've had issues with consistency. So one of my 100-day goals was training 80 of 100 days, and so I hit it pretty hard. And as it sits right now, I've missed 9 days of training since the camp. I just did my second half Ironman since Go Abundance this last weekend, and it's been pretty cool. I looked back at my numbers last year, and I missed 30 days out of 100 last year, and it looks like I'll finish missing 11 days out of 100 this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's good.
Yeah, it's great.
So Aaron, do you have your one sheet in front of you?
I do actually, yes.
All right, so what I would love for you to do is just kind of walk us through it and talk a little bit about, you know, where you're at now since the event, and explain to us some of the goals and walk us through the categories. And then Mark and I will give you some feedback based on the presentation of where you're at today.
So do you want me to go over like the top 1 or 2 goals for 2015, or just talk about income and all that kind of stuff, or how do you want me to do it?
So what we do, we have a format, and this is basically your time. And one of the challenges that I have is I always rush through it because I feel like I'm taking everybody's time. And this is like the only opportunity that you have to really be held accountable, to share, be acknowledged for some of the great things you're doing, and maybe ask for some help. So it's your time, and it's however you want to use it. Normally what we do is we run through it from top to bottom. We may necessarily not read every line, but we might read the things that are really great, like, hey, I hit this goal, I hit that goal, I went on a vacation with my daughter, I did 11 out of 100 days in the triathlon training, whatever, and this is my horizontal income. So we kind of go through it from top to bottom, and then by the end we're like, here's where I need some help, and here's where I can be held accountable. and it kind of all flows together that way. But it's really your time. You use it. We won't interrupt you. We'll ask questions at the end because we'll be taking notes, and then we'll talk about it. Cool?
Okay. All right. So one of the things about GoBundance that I was looking for is the financial part of it. So I have always been kind of a fear-based person. My family come from a big family that was broke all of the time, and so I was very comfortable being broke. And so the last couple of years has really been kind of an awakening financially for me. So my horizontal income, you know, we've got 7 doors right now. And, you know, since GoBundance, I'm actually in escrow right now on another duplex that should be closing in about 3 weeks to bump my horizontal income a little bit. I was able to do a flip. So my horizontal income right now, and these are net numbers, correct? Is that what I'm supposed to be doing, is the net number?
Yeah, we don't have a line for taxes on this particular version you're using. So whatever it is for you, just go ahead and make sure it's consistent from year to year. That's all.
You still there? I heard a cutoff or something.
Yeah, I thought I heard something too.
I lost transmission. We'll see. Let him roll back in.
Yeah.
Are you there? So at the top, for everybody else, at the top we have financial freedom, and it says percenter. I don't know if you all can see. Can everybody see the one sheet? Are we sharing that screen or not?
No, we're not sharing that screen.
No. So at the top, Aaron's got financial freedom, and then it says percenter. And so the goal is to become a 100%er, which means that 100% of your expenses are covered at least by your horizontal income. And so Aaron right now in 2014 was at 5%, and he's going to be at 15% this year. So that's basically a tripling of his percenter column, which is cool. So that's a nice way to kind of sum everything up for the goals that we're going for on that financial freedom column, that pillar.
All right. Keep on talking through it, Mark, while you're there until he comes back on.
All right. So I'll talk through it. I hope he doesn't...
I'm here now.
All right. Well, I took over the top part of it. So you're on horizontal income.
Thank you. Okay. So yeah. So now, and I heard that. I was trying to figure out how to unmute myself. So I'll be at 15% this year. I was able to do a flip, and I'm trying to get a couple more of those. My top 2015 upcoming highs is 70 transactions. I'm on pace to do better than that, so I'm going to revisit that goal and try and get myself up to 75 or 80 transactions for the real estate side of it. Vineman 70.3, that was one of the reasons why I did the 100-day goal, is that's coming up in July, and that's a race that has just always kicked my behind. So I want to do well at that race. Disneyland with the family, we did that. That was another part of my 100-day goals, was to totally disengage from business for the 3 days that we were there, with no business phone calls from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m., and I was able to do that. The 5 flips, we got 1 in, and we've been writing offers on other properties and haven't been able to get any other ones, so I'm a little bit behind on that. My body stats, I'm down to 159 right now as far as my weight. So I've dropped 7 pounds. Actually, I was at 174 at the beginning of the year, so I'm down to 159 right now. So I'm happy with that. 1 or 2 goals for 2015 is train 200 days this year with the 100-day goal that we just did. I'm definitely going to have to readjust that and make that a much higher number. So it has become more of a lifestyle now, and I'm totally happy with that. Finish Vineman strong. Like I said, that's one of the upcoming highs for me. We've got a backpacking trip planned with the family, a 4-day trip with my wife and my 2 boys in August. Pay for cabinets. So we've been saving up a little bit at a time to get the cabinets in our house done, and we actually just had that done last week. Be current on taxes. I'm one of those guys that pays for the previous year in November of the following year, and so I've been working hard on that, and I think I'm about 3 weeks away from paying my 2014 taxes and getting to work on my 2015 quarterlies for first time since I got into real estate.
Wow.
Operating business budget, again, coming from a place with no financial background at all. I finally hired a bookkeeper to come into my office every Friday. So I'm now getting my books done every single month. So I'm current on that. She's printing out P&Ls for me every month so that I can try and get those figured out and figure out where I am financially with my business. Spiritual, purchase one more property. I'm in the process of doing that right now. Spiritual contribution, the board of the Boys and Girls Club, they'd actually already filled the board, so I'm actually chairing one of their fundraisers. I'm co-chairing it with another person for October, so we've been working on that a bunch. Start going to church. I have failed miserably at that, so that just hasn't happened. Interview 5 successful people. I have gotten 2 down that I really respect and admire, and so I need to pick 3 more and get those on the books to be able to just, again, be around more successful people. Join a mastermind group. Haven't really found that yet, so I'm open and looking for that. Friends and family, we're trying to put ourselves in a little bit better place in the community, so we're trying to meet 1 new family a quarter and create a relationship with them, and then do a 3-day retreat per quarter, which I have been doing, and GoBundance is going to be one of the following quarters, and then I've got to pick 1 more 3-day retreat as well. Environment and Tribe, find a business mentor. I actually think I need a few business mentors. So, I'm got one financial planner that I've just reached out to, and him and I are gonna start working together. And then just building a better business environment in my office. And then what do I need help with? Financial accountability and advice. And I want to be held accountable to a personal budget, which we have started to, but we really aren't 100% committed to it, I guess is the most accurate way to put it. And triathlon training.
All right.
Okay.
Wow.
Awesome.
I said super, Aaron. Love the way you flowed through that like you've done this a few times. And congratulations on taking your family to Disney and disconnecting. I think it's one of the things that where we're at today in the world has become a real priority for us to be all present as, it tends to be a challenge. So great job there. Great job on getting down to 159 pounds and consistent. It looks like your age-defying pillar is rocking and rolling. Would that be a fair statement?
That is a fair statement, yes.
And if you look up at your life happiness index, you have 6.88 out of 10. How do you feel about that number?
It can always be improved. I would like that number to be higher, and I think a lot of it is just raising some of the financial and horizontal income and business and making that more of a priority than it has been, to where I'm happier with where it is.
All right, the reason I ask is because it's a very subjective thing, the way people fill out that life happiness index. Some people are really hard on themselves, and they never going to give themselves more than an 8.5, and other people might be scoring themselves differently. So I just wanted to get a little bit of perspective there. I think the main thing is to notice it as you do it from quarter to quarter, which is generally what we do, and to see if it's moving in the right direction. Have you ever read this book here?
I can't see it.
Yeah,
Well,
you
it's really hard. Yes.
Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
Hold it up.
The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, is that what you said?
Correct.
Yes. No, I have not.
All right. I'm going to recommend it to you because it looks like you got a lot going on, but one of the concepts that I can quickly share with you is there's 4 money personality types, and let's see if we can figure out which one you are. There's the saver, the spender, the avoider, and the money monk. The saver emotionally has trouble spending on things, even when they're good things. They just always feel like they want to save. The spender tends to spend on things very easily, enjoys fashionable clothes, nice car, bigger house maybe than they should really have based on their budget. The avoider basically just kind of, gets the bill at the dinner table and throws the credit card on the table and doesn't really look at the number. Mail comes in with that are bills and they don't open it. And the money monk is somebody who believes that you can't be spiritual and wealthy at the same time. You've got to choose one or the other. Which one do you think you would fall in?
I would probably fall in the avoider, honestly.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And therefore, your taxes have fallen behind because psychologically, on some level, you have been trained or seen by your father or whoever it was that it's painful to look at the money or the lack of it. Therefore, we're just not going to look at it at all. So I would say that if you can rewire yourself to have pleasure in being aware of your finances, like you looks like you're already starting, pleasure in doing your books, pleasure in knowing your numbers, pleasure in improving them, pleasure in getting your taxes done in a timely fashion so you don't have any surprises or any late charges or any penalties, then that will help you to achieve it, because obviously you've got revenue and you've got plenty of it in order to handle those situations. Would that also be a fair statement?
Yes.
So those, I would say, pick up that book, read through it. You'll see there's 17 mind files in there. Identify which ones maybe are in conflict inside. Work on the affirmations in it. And it's been a book I've referred to many people, and a lot of them have to turn around their finances just from a perspective, a belief perspective inside. So that would be my suggestion there. Mark, you got some comments?
I do. You say join a mastermind group. I think you're doing that in jest, right? Because you joined GoAbundance or what?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I figured. I thought maybe you wanted to join like a business mastermind group or something like that, networking group. And all that's great. Awesome. So finding a business mentor. So can I back up for a second and just kind of describe a couple of the things that we, just for everybody else on the call. And first of all, I want to acknowledge you and thank you for being transparent and volunteering to do this, because you're a great example of accountability. There's a difference that we always we get into, and I get into this probably more than any of the other elders, and that's intentions versus actual goals. So you've got about probably a 70-30 split between intentions and goals on yours, more toward the goals. So you've got a net worth of $1 million, you've got train 200 days, you've got 70 transactions, 5 flips, things like that. Those are specific goals, and you can measure them. You also have some intentions. So finish Vineman strong would be an intention. There's nothing you can really measure, versus if you say I'm going to finish Vineman in 2 hours and 5 minutes or whatever. Picking a number, then you can see how well you did compared to that goal. So I'm not saying I don't agree that intentions are bad. I just think you need to be aware that if you're setting an intention, it's a little bit different than setting a goal. It's a little bit harder to be held accountable to it. So for example, start going to church. That's kind of an intention, because if you go on Sunday, you got that one knocked out for the whole year. Yay, you! Congratulations, pat you on the back and say you achieved your goal. But is that really what you want to do, or do you want to grow spiritually by going to church for the next 15 out of the next 26 weeks, for example? So just be cognizant of an intention that you set versus a goal. So that brings me to my question. Finding a business mentor. What kind of business are you trying to build? A team? Because you started talking a little bit about a team. Are you trying to find somebody that can kind of hold you accountable for each element of your business, maybe specifically in real estate or specifically in investments? What would it look like?
The answer to that question is yes, and I think that's why I said I think I need a couple of different business mentors, because I am starting to grow a team. So that, and then also with what Rock, and by the way, thank you, Rock, for bringing that to my attention with the avoider, because that is, becoming more aware of that and embracing it and changing it is, that's a big part of my business life that needs to happen, because, I've quite frankly just out-earned my spending my whole life. And so a business mentor for me is someone who I'm a big accountability guy too. So someone who, you know, can guide me and hold me accountable in whatever it is that they are good at. Does that make sense?
Of
Yes.
course. So what would be the area specifically that you want to improve, or you think you need some vision help on the vision with? So I could rephrase that for you.
Thank you.
3 to 5 years from now, what does your business look like?
It's a team that I've been able to buy back my time with.
Right.
That allows me to, you know, do the volume or the income that I'm making now or more with better systems in place and less reliability on my doing the business or my generating the income.
Right. So less working in your business, but working on your business.
Correct.
But one of the things I learned from David Osborne is that you should spend 50% of your time on the vision, 30% of your time looking for talent, and 20% on the stuff. And when you talk about 50% on the vision, it's not just sitting there meditating on the vision, but it's talking about the vision to the people on your team. It's transferring your experience. So what would you say some of your strengths are in your business? What are you really good at? You're doing 70 transactions. You must be really good at listings or working with buyers.
Both, actually. You know, we didn't do banks, so I had to become good at all of it with a small price point that we were working with. So I'm really good at people skills. I have the ability to be able to create win-win situations and to communicate with people how they want to be communicated with and be able to lead them along a path that is in their best interest, but they don't necessarily know it yet.
All right, so you've read the Red Book, right?
Yes.
So the first person you need to hire is who?
An assistant, an office manager.
Right.
And I have.
And you have one?
And I have one.
Okay. Is he or she good?
Yes.
All right.
Is she great? I don't know, but she's good.
All right. So here's one question you can ask yourself when you're doing something. Who else could be doing this? Anytime you're doing something, try to ask yourself if there's somebody else that could be doing it, and that means you have to pass that on. The great thing that you can do, because you're so awesome already at it, is you first do it in front of the person that's going to eventually be doing it, and you probably know this, and then you're going to have them do it while you watch it, and then you're going to make sure they do it at the same quality that you do, and then that task is now being leveraged onto somebody else. And then the second thing you're going to do is that exact same process with a buyer's agent. Have you done Recruit Select?
I have done Recruit Select, and I actually just brought on a buyer's agent, and he sat in with me on the first buyer's presentation today.
Cool.
Awesome. So you're already on the path, brother.
I'm just a slow learner, man. Just a slow learner.
Not really. You're getting it.
So you're on the right path, and I bet you there's somebody in your office that has already got some sort of a team and is doing fairly well, or your team leader or somebody like that, your OP, no?
I'm not in KW. I'm not in KW. So I just follow a lot. I just steal from everybody.
Okay. Well, there's nothing wrong with rip off and duplicate. One of your options is to get a MAPS coach that understands that process. Another thing is to work with some of the guys, maybe even in the tribe. I would post on the page that you're looking for somebody to mentor you to the 7th level, which sounds like what you want, and see who pops up their head. There's a lot of guys that would love to help you, and you're on the right path. So I think it's a matter of creating that vision, and you just got to decide, do I want to do it in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then you'll be well on your way.
Awesome.
The last piece the last piece I have for you, Aaron, is the question about financial accountability and budget. And it would just be to point you toward a resource. First of all, kudos to you for bringing in a bookkeeper. It's probably something I need to do, and it's a really good way to really leverage out, like Rock is talking, somebody that's better at it, wants to do it, and doesn't want the avoidance that you might have around doing it. So I completely get that. But number two, if you want to take a little bit more control or work with your accountant, you can, well, we have some tools that you've already been using with the one sheet and the other forms that flow into that. But there's a program called Mint. Mint.com it's really set up for budgeting and all things financial, and I'll point you in that direction if you haven't already been there, because it really makes it a lot easier for you to do budgeting and finances.
All right, I'll check it out.
So what can we hold you accountable to the next 100 days in leveraging out your business, Aaron? Now that we have you on the call and you've been courageous enough to lay it all out there, what would serve you in the next 90 days you think would be really cool to accomplish? How many, like, for instance, how many buyer transactions might you like your buyer's agent to have accomplished? Or maybe your executive assistant handles more things, or you can take a half a day off or a full day off, or can you think of something on the spot that might be cool for us to hold you accountable for the next 100 days?
You know, I think it would be, and this is kind of off the top of my head, but just bringing that person up to speed where I'm comfortable just handing someone to them and not feeling like I need to babysit. Does that? I mean, does that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I put you on the spot, Aaron. So of course, but I suggest you think about what that might look like 90 to 100 days from now, and just kind of think about where you can take it. And certainly, working with buyers is time-consuming, so you're gonna have to still put in the time for the next little while you mentor them. I always say to people, if you go to Starbucks, you don't care who serves you as long as you get what you want. It's the standard that you want. And as awesome as you are, and as charming as you are, the client, really, the end experience is the standard that you have gotten them accustomed to experiencing. And once you transfer that to your next people, then you're going to feel a sense of freedom.
What would after talking to me, what would your suggestion be for 90 days? What are your thoughts?
I would suggest that you accomplish that. You feel that they know from, like there's 3 segments, right? So there's the start, the follow-up, and the close in any deal. So they're sitting down with the buyer, getting them to sign the buyer's contract or whatever process you have, get them pre-framed on the event. There's the showing of the homes and the staying in touch, and then there's the closing aspect. So I would say within 90 days, you want to have them at a comfort level. I wouldn't say mastery, but a comfort level in all 3 of those sectors. So that if you hand them a lead, you know that they can do that hour sit down comfortably and professionally at your standard. Number 2, they know how to show homes, they know how to stay in touch, the same speed and velocity that you would expect them to do it at. And finally, they know how to write up an offer and negotiate it appropriately, and or at least refer to you if they get stuck and they need to bring in the big guns to leverage the process. And those are the 3 areas. Maybe month 1, you focus on really nailing down the introductory, the meeting. Month 2, you really get them to that second stage on follow-up and showing. Month 3, example, would be focusing on the closing aspect of it. That might be a nice way for you to chunk it in your mind, although you'll be touching all of them probably throughout the 90 days. If that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, great job. You're well on your way. And you've got some mind frick around the budget and the money that was passed down to you by your family. So you're going to love the book I recommended, and you're going to fetter out some of those unsupportive beliefs and march your way to $1 million before you know it.
Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate your time.
All right, buddy. Great job.
And I'm close. I only got another 30 grand to get there, so it'll be there this year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Great job.
All right.
What's your next event, Aaron?
It is going to be Vineman. And then, I'll just throw this out there since there's people on this. I'm thinking about doing Austin in November, which is like 5 months away. That is plenty of time if any of you guys have had a bucket list of doing a half Ironman or a triathlon. And I would be more than happy to help you guys, whoever it is that's looking for it. I'd be willing to help.
That's great. Can you post that in the Facebook Elite site?
I will do that.
Some more of the details and how you'd be willing to maybe put a coaching group together so you could mentor people in that department. That'd be great.
I will do that.
Awesome. Cool. What's your next Go Abundance event?
I was going to do Colorado, but that's the day of Vineman is when it starts, and so I will not be hiking a 14er the next day. So I'm going to be doing the NorCal diving thing in August, and then I'll be coming to Montreal, I think.
Woohoo!
So I will see you in the north.
That sounds fantastic. Look forward to seeing you. It's going to be a really great event.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks a lot. Great job, Aaron.
All right. Thanks.
So is there anyone else on the call that would like to share anything, either from their one sheet or an experience they've had, or maybe something they want to be held accountable or something you need help on? Now would be a good time. We got a few extra minutes. If not, that's okay too, and we can wrap up. But if we're unmuted, Eric, that would be good for everybody if they want to just jump in.
Mark, I don't know about you, but every time we go over the one sheet for myself, there's a little nuance, a little refining that I do on mine, and just the fact that I keep on knowing I got to show up and share it with you guys each day causes me to move a little bit more consistently to everything that I do. And whether it's, having an extra glass of wine or thinking I'm going to skip a workout, there's always that little in the background, how am I going to show up when I see my bros? So I think it's a really great process, and Aaron certainly seems to be making some great progress, so great job there.
Yeah, and I think just the whole process of just putting it down for yourself, even if you have to answer to somebody else, that's part of it. But I think just shining a light on it for yourself and then revisiting it and looking at it and making it so that you see it all the time, I think is such a huge thing. So it's great to do it, with your accountability team once a quarter, or hopefully even more often. Rock and I have an accountability thing, that we do once a week. We send each other our goals for the week, and we try to hold each other accountable and encourage each other to get those goals done. So accountability doesn't have to just be off the one sheet and something as prepared as that. It can just be, hey, here's what I got going on in my life. And so just by putting it down, it makes it more real. So
it's a great dashboard, because I'll tell you what, I've got a new bookkeeper as well, and explaining to her all the different revenue sources I have and adjusting my net worth and my real estate that's going up and my mortgages that are going down, it's forced me to shine a magnifying glass on the different areas and really wrap my head around it. And I think that people that have multiple streams of income and multiple properties, it's really easy to lose sight of where you actually are in your net worth, where you actually are in your cash flow. And we all know what you focus on expands. So it's really a great process. Just writing down goals, it's proven that they tend to manifest more readily.
Absolutely.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey.
Just want to make a mention. Gary Wilson. Gary, if you're on, you're unmuted. He had made a comment I just want to read. He said, perhaps the biggest thing for me is building and nurturing relationships with guys like Michael Prather, Jason Paracella, and Rock Thomas. So just wanted to make sure that was on record.
Awesome. Thank you. Gary, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Am I live or am I still muted?
No,
You're
you're
live, Gary.
I can hear you, brother. It was awesome having you at the event today. Everybody loved you. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity, and I did scan in all the surveys at the end of the day, gave them to Donna, and I just glanced at them earlier because I scanned them in myself, and I was very humbled by all those positive remarks, and it's an awesome opportunity to help people get to the next higher level of success. And Rock, I'm personally honored to be able to help you in your market center, and have breakfast with you once again. So both times we've gotten together, we've actually been at breakfast. You think about it. So,
yeah. Well, you know what? It's been great, and honestly, I can say I had George Wu, who's the Asian gentleman who we've been working on signing for a while, and he came in after your session, and he goes, "Okay, I'm ready to sign Rock." He goes, "Just
Nice.
the value you bring to this market center is incredible. And it was a real sense of pride for me to have you up there. Not just because you did such a great job and because you came from as a servant leader, but because you're my GoBundance bro.
Yeah. Well, I do want to add one comment. This morning we talked about it again, and you made the comment that and you said it tonight again. It's so nice to be hanging around other people who are doing like you're supercharged go-getters. And one of the things I realized, one of our 9 environments happens to be our friends and colleagues. And we go back into the world, a lot of times we're the light. We're the light that has to shine for so many other people, and it can definitely require a lot of stamina and energy and time and persistence. So to be able to hang around guys like you is huge for me, and that's why I made the comment about Jason, Michael, and yous, because that does help me stay at the highest level of energy and to be able to keep that stamina going. It's vitally important, you know.
Yeah, it's great, and it feeds on each other. So how are you doing with your goals since Tahoe?
Pretty good. I don't have my chart with me, but I have not met some of my goals. Like I wanted to create my outline for what I call the Healing House Foundation, and I don't really talk about it a lot, and perhaps I should. But it's a foundation that purchases houses around North America for families to go to, get away from their environment, to rebuild that loving bond they have between family members. Could be spouses, could be parents and children, that were destroyed through addiction, drug and alcohol addiction. So I want to give these people a safe place to go to rebuild those bonds, so the addict, when they go back out into mainstream society, is far more capable to withstand the temptation of relapse. And I've already done it so far, and it does work. So in any case, I haven't created that outline. I have the vision, but not the outline. That's one thing I didn't do. However, one thing that really took off is through this investor agent training program, I have so far far exceeded my goals for this part of the year. I mean, by like in the last month, I think I exceeded my financial goals by 100%. So that is just really, really awesome, you know. And I will tell you this, a lot of it's due to the relationships I'm building with GoBundance Group. So I'm very, very thankful for that. On the relationship side, you know, I'm not a big chicken, but I wanted to extend an invitation to get married to my sweetheart who happens to be in Canada, London, Canada, and I have not yet done that. So hold my feet to the fire for that one, because she's absolutely a rock star and a big part of my life, and has helped me exceed my expectations. So that's the 3 major ones for me. One of them, I've more than doubled my my projection, and the other 2 I just haven't gotten to. So I got no excuses other than me just not doing it, you know.
When can we expect to see that outline, Gary?
All right, I tell you what. I was gonna say I'm coming to the event in Montreal in October. I think everybody should come to this event. It's going to be freaking awesome. I'm going to commit to having it in place a month before that event. Okay.
Awesome.
First week of September, I'll have the outline ready for you.
Good.
That's fantastic. And let me say that, you know, the time we spent together, every time you talked about your lady, you lit up, and I could genuinely see that you have a lot of affection for her, and I think that's amazing. And of course, she's Canadian, because us Canadians just rock the world, the free world as we know it. Go Canada, yes. Go! But also, I had the pleasure of talking to you before you were a GoBundance member, and I've seen you come in, and I've seen you benefit from the tribe and the connections. But I think that the reason that you have is you come from a really, really great place, and I witnessed that today. You know, you came to speak for an hour and a half, and you were in there for 3 hours, and that's the type of people I think we're attracting, and the world gets better because people like you keep on serving. So I'm super happy that your life has gotten better due to our relationship, but I just want to say also the tribe has gotten better because you showed up, so thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Rock. I appreciate that.
Yeah, great job, great job. And you know what would be also great is we love to see people post on the Elite site something about how their life is being affected, and whether it be through the relationships or through being held accountable, whatever, to encourage everybody to celebrate. So if you'd take a moment and just maybe put a little word up there about some of the things you mentioned to us, I think it'd be kind of fun for everybody to see, because some of the guys are missing this call, and I think you've had a great success story. So, and it'll also help us hold you accountable as a tribe energetically to some of the intentions you have as well.
Okay. You got
cool.
it.
All right. Anybody else on the call? We got a few minutes left, and while somebody's maybe lining up, we have the Montreal event. We have some space left for Colorado, which is July 12th to 16th. We're going to be going to a baseball game. We're going to be going to a concert. We're going to be walking to 14K, and we're going to be hanging out with a lot of cool people there. So if you'd like to go to that, you can contact Matt or Heather, and we'll give you some more information. Of course, Montreal actually has only a very few spots left, so if you are genuinely interested in that, you better hurry up and contact Matt or Heather. And
what are the details on that, Rock?
Montreal is going to be October 1st to 4th up in the beautiful mountains in the fall foliage. It's going to be absolutely picturesque and gorgeous. Day one, we are going to race exotic cars, Lamborghinis, Porsches, and the like. And then on day two, we're going to play paintball. And a buddy of mine just sold his company for $104 million. Happens to be a paintball making company. Yeah, million, not billion. And he's going to come hang out with us. And just to be able to hang out with this guy, he owns like 9 properties down in Florida. He's hanging out with guys from Shark Tank, and really, really humble but highly successful guy. I'm working actually right now on a potential $100 million deal up here in Montreal with him, which will be the biggest deal I've ever worked on. We've got an offer in on $6 million on a property that's going to be repossessed, and we may escalate that to their total portfolio of about $118 million. So, you know, the moment that you start getting involved with great people, great things happen. So you're going to want to be up at this event. It's going to be off the chain, epic. And actually, by the way, the day after, we're going to do a real estate mega mastermind retreat. So if you happen to be a badass real estate agent and you want to help me kick off Keller Williams up here in Quebec, I'm going to be looking for people on panels and speakers that would like to help me do that on the 5th of October. We never have really, truly epic people come up to this part of the world because it's a French-speaking part of the world. So the leaders in this environment don't generally invite really great English speakers. But this is going to be a great occasion to have that happen. So if you want to do that, please contact me. And Mark, you're not going to be coming to Machu Picchu, but we're going to be going there for the first 10 days of September. Did you know that?
I did.
I'm
jealous, but it sounds like a lot of fun. You guys are going to have a blast.
So while I'm babbling here, is there anybody else that would like to share? I don't want to keep on going on. I can, but is there anybody that would like to pipe in? Somebody out there crying. I'm not crying, you're crying.
If not, I can close if you'd like, because I have a hockey game to watch.
Okay.
Is
it tonight?
It's tonight. Yeah, they're playing right now, so hopefully they're winning. Otherwise, they're out. So there's a guy named Charles Plum. I tell this story every once in a while. And Charles Plum was a decorated military pilot in the Navy. And he flew 75 missions in Vietnam before being shot down. And when he was shot down, as he was going down, he parachuted, and he knew he was either going to be shot out of the air or he was going to be captured. Well, he was captured and tortured for 6 years. And then when the war was over, they released him, and he came back to the United States, and he spoke about his experience being captured and shot down in Vietnam. And one day he was out having lunch with his wife, and somebody came up and said, "Hey, you're Plum, aren't you?" And he said, "Yeah, how did you know that?" He said, "Well, because I was in the Navy, and I packed your parachute that day you were shot down." And he said, "Wow, I suppose I owe you a debt of gratitude. If it weren't for you packing my parachute, I wouldn't even be here today." And so the guy went off. He said, "Thank you," and they went their separate ways. And as Plum went home that night, he started thinking about that encounter with him, and he said, "You know, I probably saw that guy 100 times, but since I was a fighter pilot and he was just a sailor, I didn't really give him the time of day. But yet he was the man who packed my parachute." And so how often do we go through our lives where we don't acknowledge the people, we don't say hello, we don't listen to somebody's triumph about a goal that they've hit or something that's significant in their lives? So I'm going to challenge you for the next week or the next day or the next year or month or whatever to start thinking about, acknowledging some of those people and start thinking about the people who pack your parachute.
Very nice, Mark. Very nice. You never know who's behind the scenes. That is really going to make a difference in your life. I know Pat and I had for a while a challenge to compliment 5 different people a day. And amazingly enough, I have to say I'm guilty of, I guess, being a high D and moving quickly and not always doing so. But when I did it, it actually made me feel better because I was constantly looking for the good in people, whether it was a smile or the way that they were dressed or the fact that they looked sharp. I remember telling a guy once at you know, at the little coffee house, I go, "Hey man, you look really sharp today." And he turned around and he goes, "Well, yo, you look sharp too, dude." And we didn't know each other, but it's just one of those things that you choose this one little new habit and you integrate it into your life and somebody else holds you accountable. So I'd text Pat, you know, the 5 different people or what I said, and he goes, "Oh, that's really good." And I noticed that the easiest way to do it is just say, "Hey, you got a really nice smile." And so it's fun if you know, if you're out there and you're looking for fun little ways to improve and change your behavior, you know, maybe find a buddy that can hold you accountable, do a fun little game like that. You want to swim a mile a day or whatever it is. And Mark and I do our little goals, you know, once a week to each other. It might be a way to create gentle shifts in your life and appreciate those people that are packing your parachute, or maybe might in the future pack your parachute. So great job. So I want to thank Aaron for sending in his one sheet, and for Gary for sharing on the call, and Mark, thanks for co-hosting the call tonight. We'll do this call again in a month. So those of you that didn't get a chance, please get yourself ready so you can benefit by declaring it to the universe what you plan on achieving. And in the meantime, I know there's unbelievably great results happening for a lot of the members out there, and continue to post on the Elite site and participate in celebrating with your brothers.
Thank you very much, everybody, and thanks, Rock.
All right. So, as we like to say, we're a tribe of healthy, wealthy, generous that choose to lead epic lives, and we like to grab life big. So grab life big. Grab life big.
Grab life big. Go abundance.
Go abundance. See you next week on the call, and God bless.